2, 3, 4. Sometimes you're distracting the referee, and the babyface has your wrestler pinned. Then you get punched to the ring apron, and you realize all the trouble you're in when it's the hardest part of the ring. The hardest part of the ring. Sometimes you get trapped in a headlock, and you're worried about smearing your lip gloss. Then shoot her off and take a shoulder block. Do a leapfrog, give her a hip toss. It's the hardest part of the ring. The hardest part of the ring. Now double claps. What's going on, Bob Squad? It's the hardest part of the ring. January 23rd, 2022. Hulu edition. Not limited enough commercial interruption on the hardest part of the ring. The hardest part of the ring. Ba-da-ba-da. Whoa. Yay. What is going on? Bob Squad, how the heck are you? How's tricks? How's the kids? Some weather we are having. Rubbing elbows, greasing palms, schmoozing, networking, whistling, Dixie, waxing philosophical, shooting the breeze, and chewing a fat daddy, squeezing out lemons, stopping on a dime. Don't know where we're going, but we are making good time. Hey, everybody. What are we talking about this week? We're talking about Raw. This is the go home and stay there and turn off the television edition of WWE Monday Night Raw, the go-home show, as they say, the last Raw before this Saturday's Royal Rumble. Yikes! Oh, I don't want to even preview it. I want to just get into it because if you haven't seen it, I want you to be surprised when I tell you what they did. Okay? I'm gonna get my notes. Got my notes. We open a program with Hulk Hogan slamming Andre the Giant. Then Brock Lesnar wears a cowboy hat, asks Corey Graves if he wants to see him naked, and Bobby Lashley starts flexing. All of that really happened in this program. This is a Vince McMahon wet dream. First we see Hogan slam Andre. The only moment in wrestling he remembers. Then Brock Lesnar is there, but he's wearing a cowboy hat. He asks another man if he wants to see him naked, and Bobby Lashley flexes. This is the Vince McMahon wet dream segment award. What the hell happened? There was a weigh-in. That they've never done before, because I guess contract signings have gotten old and stale, so I'll give them that. They didn't do a contract signing. Lesnar had like a ton of clothes and a heavy coat and a cowboy hat and boots and jeans, and he gets weighed and he keep wanting to take his clothes off and he doesn't care, and he's laughing, and Lashley's mad at Lesnar because Lesnar won't take his clothes off. I'm a child. And then Lashley stole Heyman's predictions, spoiler line, and they left. What are the positives? Not as long as I thought it was going to be. Yeah, that's the positive for this segment. So this is the last thing we're going to see to get us hyped for Brock Lesnar versus... Are we supposed to be cheering Lashley as the babyface? Before after his heel manager, MVP, cuts a heel promo on the heels, but we're cheering Lesnar, but we're booing Heyman, but we're cheering Heyman when he says his catchphrase, but booing him when he says everything else. And we're cheering Lesnar for getting pissed and flexing and taking his hoodie off and having muscles, but we're laughing when Lesnar makes fun of him? I don't understand what we're supposed to feel here. Regret over 33 years wasted, I think is what we're feeling. I'll speak for one of us. Let's move on. Bianca Belair wrestles Zelina Vega, the Queen of Queens. Zelina still has a British accent. I don't know what part of Queens she lived in, but I lived there for 8 years. I don't remember the UK being particularly visible. That was not the population most represented in Queens. Oh, jeez. Hell, modern Spider-Man has too many white people in their queens. Jesus Christ. Okay. Well, Bianca wins. So Bianca, and I love Zelina Vega, but she's way too competitive with Bianca. If you want to keep Bianca over, then Bianca should have hit her big stuff, barreled through her. And maybe Zelina gets a little thing here and there, but it looks silly. It's sillier when Zelina stares off with Rhea Ripley, which is why I think they had her do it several weeks in a row. It's very, very silly. I mean, Bianca's an athlete, clearly, visibly. It's not that Zelina's not an athlete, but good God. When Bianca was suplexing Zelina and bopping up and down and having fun, I think it was Corey Graves who said, "She's picking up Zelina like she's nothing." Well, Zelina's like 100, she's like 95 pounds. Kind of, yeah. She's picking up that 98-pound woman as though she only weighs 95 pounds. Jeez. Bianca wins 1, 2, 3. I don't know what this was supposed to do to get us hyped for the Rumble other than we need a match. And I don't think we need a match is a big concern at all on Monday Night Raw lately, and I think this match was evident. Or this program, rather, was evident of they don't think they need any matches. But Kevin Owens talks to an Irish guy. They're both named Kevin. And the Irish guy accuses him of playing possum last week against Damian Priest. And Kevin Owens tells the Irish guy he is not lying. Okay? Does that make any sense to you? Of course it doesn't. Damian Priest wrestles Kevin Owens. They had an okay match. Nothing to write home about. And why would I bother? My mother would be very confused. She would not care about that letter whatsoever. It was for the United States Championship, so okay, either Priest wins or they're going to keep the rage and rage and rage of DQs going. I almost yawned while reviewing this match. Oh my God. Oof, Monday Night Raw hurts nowadays. Kevin Owens jumps off the ring apron, which is the hardest part of the ring. Does a senton. He lands on top of Damian Priest's knees. Damian Priest then gives Kevin Owens a choke slam on the ring apron, which is the hardest part of the ring. And eventually, Damian Priest gets annoyed with Kevin Owens trying to feign an injury once again. And he won't stop stomping Kevin Owens in the corner. I walked away to heat up my spinach chicken wrap. I walked away and I said, that's the finish. And as I'm in the kitchen, I heard the bell. Like, no shit. It's over. So this gives us a reason for Owens, of course, to demand another rematch. Which means he'll do some backstage thingies with Adam Pearce and Sonya Deville. And I demand a match. And they'll go, oh, you're kind of right. And they'll give him a match. Ugh, excuse me. I'm tired, Bob Squad. I'm trying. I don't know where this is going. I think the bloom's off the rose for Priest on Raw, though. I think as Priest, they like guys who can fill 2 segments or 3 sometimes. Like have that long 10-minute thing and then do that match. And maybe that match can be 2 segments or even 1 long. Priest can only fulfill one of those 2 requirements. And Owens is a guy. He can stand there and shoot the breeze all day. He can go back and forth with anyone in their long talky segments all day long. And he can wrestle all day. But I love Seth. And I hate to say it because I hate seeing him anymore, but Miz is another one. When Bayley was healthy, she would do a lot of that. Seth is like the king of it, though, by this point. Good God. They did it later on in this program. We'll get to that. Yeah, I think we do it very next. Disqualification, so you'll probably say U.S. title match. And I'm going to go out on a limb. Maybe a U.S. title victory of Kevin Owens over Damian Priest. We don't know. We don't know. They tease Maurice's birthday party coming up. Yep. There is a weigh-in and a birthday party on this show. And next we have a spelling bee. Yes, there is a weigh-in, a birthday party, and a spelling bee on this program. The academic challenge. There's a lot of Ohio stuff. Chad Gable was very good in the last couple of weeks. He lets see. I mean, it's just cheap heat. He's making fun of not even the hometown, the home state. So I don't know what city they were in Ohio, but you know it wasn't Cleveland or Cincinnati because whenever they're in a major market, they always tell you. But if they're in, like a few weeks ago, they were in South Carolina. What city in South Carolina were they in? Cousin Luke, you live there. Let me know. I don't know because they never said. They just said South Carolina. Was it Greenville? That's all I got. Was it Simpsonville? Was it Clemson, the university? Was it Myrtle Beach? I don't know the answer to. I don't know the answer to that. Because they just say the state. And they did this today, so I'm going to imagine Dayton, Columbus, but not Cincinnati or Cleveland. Okay? It's Dayton or Columbus is going to be my guess. If you know, let me know in the comments. If you don't know, don't look it up. You're wasting your time as well. It's not important. Yeah, there's a spelling bee, the four of them, Orton, Riddle, Otis, Chad Gable. The spelling bee is being hosted by the Irish guy who really gets around. He's busy today. There were no blonde ladies, that's why. What happened to the blonde ladies? Oh no, they got COVID-19, I bet. You always get COVID-19. There's a spelling bee, and Otis spells the name of a fancy cheese. I'm not kidding at all. This was on the wrestling program. And then Riddle spells the word calibration and alludes to smoking drugs. This also happened. And then Chad Gable, of course, who reminded us he's the smartest with a master's degree and a 4.0 average. He spells his word wrong because he wasn't listening to the Irish guy or something. So he blames the Irish guy for being Irish. And then Randy Orton spells the word dumbbell correctly. And the good guys won the spelling bee. In the middle of this, Orton charges. Randy Orton challenges Chad Gable to a match right here, right now. After the break. So not right now. Right here, but momentarily. Which would not have sounded as tough and menacing. Gable and Orton had a very good match after the break. And they didn't go to another segment and then go to the match like I thought they were going to. I didn't see a lot of that in this show. Maybe they got over that. Maybe someone realized it's silly. Let's not do that ever again. What was happening here? Orton sold... he gave a master class on selling against Chad Gable in this. He was great. Gable, of course, is a great athlete. He's going to hang with him and everything else. I have seen a locker. Like it's a real report. There is an internet thing going around that Orton is just really banged up from giving all these RKOs. That to me sounds like one of those wrestling stories the internet makes up because it's already true. Like, well, no shit, he's banged up. He's 42 this year. I don't know when Randy Orton's birthday is. So let's say it's only January. He's probably 41 years old. He's been on TV since 2002. Let's call it 20 years because he had OVW for a year or two before that, whatever. For 20 years, he's been jumping up and down, landing on his back and his shoulder. And he's hurt that collarbone and that shoulder so many times already. So no shit, you can make a story, say, he's really starting to feel it. Well, yeah. Of course. He is one of the few who has the bus. I think Seth and Becky have a bus for traveling. Orton has one. I have no idea about Roman Reigns. I don't know. But I know Orton and Seth and Becky have buses. Of course he's banged up. And it showed. I mean, but he was also selling great too and everything else. Who knows? I mean, they were doing something subtly to open our eyeballs. I don't know the answer to that. My eyeballs are open because all these guys are in the Rumble, so they'll do something there. At some point, Otis gives a suplex to Riddle on the outside of the ring. Riddle then recovers, and he takes a scooter, and he beats up Otis with a scooter. Gable sees this and turns into an RKO 1-2-3. Randy Orton is the victor, and because they win, they get to choose a stipulation for the next week's second of 3 academic challenges, a triad as they're called. And Riddle says, hey, let's bring it back to gym class. We'll have a scooter race. Who had scooters in their elementary school gym class? Nobody. It's just a made up thing. These are the things that turn people off. Their intelligence gets insulted. Because now, like, the announcers are going to pretend that scooter races are what all kids in America, at least, if not around the world, have always had in gym class all the time. And that is 100% untrue. But yet, that's what they're going to do next week. Pretend that scooter racing is a thing. If you do not live in the United States, we do not have scooters in our schools. Ever. We have guns. It's America. Okay, Bob, did you have to do that? I did. Next we have a third therapy session with Alexa Bliss. That's right. This show has a weigh-in, a birthday party, a spelling bee, and a therapy session. A weigh-in, a birthday celebration, a spelling bee, and a therapy session. Okay? Do they show it here, or was this a tease? I forget. Actually, I don't remember. Hang on a second. I want to do this in order. No, I don't. Nobody does. Yeah, they do this segment because this is the third week in a row, and I think Alexa's wearing a different outfit slightly, but the other guys dressed the same because they must have filmed these all on the same day. So, nothing really happened. Again, I didn't think they would. Alexa just kind of tells some made-up story, obviously, about the doll being there when she was on a playground and she was bullied by some teens when she was 6 and shoved off the monkey bars. What? No. Who wrote this? What teenage girls, and it couldn't be that long ago, Alexa's not even 30, I don't think. Let's say she was 20 years ago, okay? The year 2000, roughly, give or take a year. What teenage girls in the year 2000 are going to go to a playground with monkey bars and shove a 6-year-old girl off the fucking monkey bars? Who does that make sense to? Oh, that's right, it's an audience of one. A crazy old man thinks this makes sense. Teenagers don't go around bullying the 6-year-olds. They bully other teenagers and maybe adolescents. Maybe someone 1 or 2 years younger than them. So if you're 18, you're picking on sophomores and freshmen, of course. And then the angry freshman goes and picks on the 8th graders and 7th graders, wherever the hell they are. No, a bunch of 16-year-old girls do not shove us. I don't believe for a second a bunch. You shove the 6-year-old girl they don't know off the monkey bars. Like, why would they be at the playground to begin with? And would there not be a bunch of adults around? Probably. Made no sense. But anyway, Alexa alluded to the fact that she woke up, didn't know what happened, and maybe Lily the doll killed the teenagers. I'm not kidding. This happened on a wrestling program. We have a great wrestling match next. I know. I didn't see it coming either. I'm as surprised as you are. Austin Theory did a backstage segment with Mr. McMahon. My water bottle is clicking around. Austin Theory has a selfie, and Mr. McMahon tells him that he better win the match against AJ Styles, and Austin asks Vince McMahon if he can have maybe a late number, 26 or 28 or 29 in the Royal Rumble. Vince McMahon said he doesn't rig the Royal Rumble. I think it was only 2 cameras this time, and Vince McMahon looks slightly less like death. So who knows? He's having a good week. He is in Ohio, just vaguely Ohio after all. AJ Styles wrestles Austin Theory in a very good match. The announcers made a point to tell you that AJ Styles is distracted. He's been going to NXT. He had a breakup with Omos, which sounds weird. But I guess now we're supposed to be sympathetic towards AJ Styles, and he's a good guy now, even though he was a bad guy for losing to Omos for some reason. Losing the match that Omos wouldn't tag in for some reason. No idea how we're supposed to feel about anybody. Austin Theory tries to cheat with his feet on the ropes for extra leverage. He gets caught. He gets hit with AJ's springboard forearm thingy. 1, 2, 3. AJ Styles is victorious. Austin Theory, you're in trouble now. So this means we'll see him as a number 1 or 2 in the Royal Rumble, I would imagine, as punishment for losing a match. I think. Let's move on. Becky Lynch is here, and Doudrop is they're on a split screen. How do I explain this? Man, they didn't even try on this one. So they had Doudrop roll her eyes and make a lot of faces while Becky talked. And I don't know why we're supposed to cheer for Doudrop here. She was a bad guy who turned on Bianca and then lost to Bianca and somehow became a contender for the championship by losing the big match. Anyway, I guess we're supposed to feel sympathetic towards Doudrop here. We get behind Doudrop for whatever reason I don't know the answer to. We're just supposed to. That's the thing. It's like the intelligence is insulted against. Why fans get annoyed with this. They just treat me like an idiot and saying, like this, you idiot. But there's no work. Whatever work is put into it is erased. Eventually, Becky said the screen goes full Becky, and then Becky's yelling about being Becky or whatever. And Doudrop, I guess, was in the next room the whole time, and she just attacks Becky, and the referees separate them. So the entire time they were arguing, they were one room apart. That was that. Did Becky not know this? How did Doudrop know this but not Becky? I don't understand. Usually when you see them argue via split screen, it's insinuated they are in different locations via satellite, as they like to say, whatever. So what would be the point of separating them to begin with? Wouldn't they just have a face-to-face in the same room? Just to surprise us, because we're supposed to not know Doudrop is next door to Becky. Do you see what they've missed here? They're so hell-bent on where they're going. They keep forgetting what it's supposed to be. It's a split screen. We know that most of those split screens there in adjacent rooms. You're not supposed to tell us that. Because that means that you went through the trouble of doing all of that for no reason. No one listens to Bob. An Irish guy. He's busy. He's back again. He must be exhausted. He must have lost 5 pounds on his show. He's talking to Seth Rollins again. I'm sounding like corny now. Again, goddamn. No, because Seth Rollins and Becky Lynch's segments are always back to back. They have been since Becky showed up on Raw. All their damn segments are back to back. You couldn't telegraph it anymore. Seth Rollins tells the Irish guy he's going to be Roman Reigns. No shit. Let's move on to the big main event. A birthday party. A big birthday celebration, because this show had a birthday celebration, a therapy session, a weigh-in, and a spelling bee. The Miz talks for a long time. Listen, guys, I fast-forwarded. Okay, I did. Long entrance, Miz, I think Miz was already in the ring, my bad. But Maurice, and I love looking at Maurice, but I had to fast-forward. Long, phony gifs, and the same promo that Miz always cuts was clearly being cut. Because I would hit the fast-forward 15-second whatever button, and they go, okay. And then there's a big golden box, and Maurice thinks Miz bought it, Miz thinks Maurice bought it. They have a security guy. There's 98 security guys who are clearly young wrestlers in training. The tell sign. Here is the tell for when a bunch of security guys are clearly indie wrestlers who are about to take bumps. They all have wacky facial hair. That's how you know. Or weird tattoos and whatever. But the wacky facial hair will always give it away. Those are not security guards. Anyway, Miz has a security guard rip open the big gold box. Speaking of Jim Cornette, God damn, it'll be over. He comes out of a box. Inside the box is the brick and that Maurice used to hit Beth with last week. I don't know if it's the same brick. Please don't ask me that. I don't know. I did not inspect the brick. But of course, in the middle, not even towards the beginning, which is annoying enough, in the middle of Mrs. Long's speech, he had to completely beat you over the head with it and kill his own surprise and say, let's take a look at the footage last week of my wife hitting Beth Phoenix with a brick. So they show it, so it's no surprise that when they open the box, okay. Because Miz and Maurice have cut the same promo for 6 weeks, so it's always a big setup of them pretending to be set up, but they're really doing the setup. So, there's no Beth or Edge in the box. Right? There was the brick, and they both laugh, and Edge and Beth come out, and Beth body slammed one security guard, and Edge gave one a boot, and then so Edge and Beth are both bumping the guards, and that was kind of cool. Took us 19 days to get there, though. They get in the ring. I think Miz and Maurice powdered out, of course, which actually made sense. Why would they stay there for that? The ropes are not electrified. Get out of there. Beth and Edge both spear a different security guard, and they gave one security guard both the heart attack finishing maneuver from the Hart Foundation and the Dudley Death Drop. Not a popular week to idolize Bubba Ray Dudley, but whatever. Bubba runs his mouth. But anyway, they do 2 popular tag team finishes for really no reason at all. We know Beth is best friends with Natty, and she's the daughter of Jim Neidhart. We get that, but it was just random. They just did it to pop themselves, I think. It was really all it was. So they do that, and they put Edge powerbombed one of the little guys through a table that had the presents and the cake on it, but we didn't see the cake get splattered. The announcers kept screaming about the cake, which we couldn't see because there was empty cardboard boxes that were well wrapped all over the place. But someone was screaming in their ear, God damn it, cake, say what cake, wedding cake, what birthday, wedding, I don't know, fucking cake, and they had to yell at the cake, which we never saw the cake. You gotta just like you gotta let the wrestlers talk for themselves, sometimes you gotta trust your announcers to do what the hell you hired them to do. You're the one yelling at them to look into the monitor and call what they see. Well, they don't see the fucking cake. Stop it. Birthday cake. Phantom cake. Bricks. Therapy sessions about teenagers beating up children. Weigh-ins where killer Canadian cowboys threatened to get naked. And a spelling bee. Where a big thick guy spells a foreign cheese. Or something. That was Monday Night Raw. Good God, Raw is hurting. They had 2 very good matches, and then the rest of it. And then 2 hours and 40 minutes of death. Oh my God almighty. Sweet mother of Pearl Evans to Murgatroyd every which way from Sunday. And you got guys still taking crazy bumps for no reason. I saw it didn't make Hulu, of course, but Montez Ford does another crazy flip off the buckle to the outside. So that's a crazy bump for no reason. And this did make Hulu, but the other crazy bump for no reason is Damian Priest giving a choke slam on the Kevin Owens on the ring apron, which is the hardest part of the ring. The hardest part of the ring. Ba-da-ba-da.